CM Punk mocks WWE creative. Plus, we have an update on a Raw star following an injury scare, and released WWE stars are getting new WWE merchandise. It's all in the Wrestling news right now. CM Punk ain't just dropping pipe bombs on Dynamite TE or Rampage. He's doing it on the socials as well. So yesterday it was announced that CM Punk's going to be facing Lee Moriarty tonight.
Yeah.
Up for that?
Very much up for that.
Decent match. A fan tweeted, and it wasn't like an antagonistic tweet from the fan. It was one that was very much like with love. Where they said that there was a lot of displeasure at the decision to book Punk versus Moriarty, saying it's weird why CM Punk is just facing a random opponent after last week's war of words with MJF, saying that AEW lacks that ability in their eyes to build rivalries and matchups. And yeah, there's a level of that I kind of agree with. I mean, with the obvious exception of the amazing work they did with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And a few other exceptions. You do feel like a lot of the AEW stuff tends to be sort of like, here's a great match.
Yeah.
And that's great, but I like stories as well.
Yeah, me too. I can see where they're coming from with this. And then on the other side, at the same time, I do enjoy that they put two people together who you necessarily wouldn't think would ever be put together, which is always a really good do as well. But I understand it from a storytelling perspective. But then, it's one of those things where you throw an opponent into someone, they beat them down, and then they look at the person that they're finally going to get to and like, yeah, look, I beat them, brah, what are you going to do, brah?
Exactly.
Brah.
Exactly.
That's what CM Punk says all the time.
He does indeed. Brah is his famous catchphrase.
Yeah, it is.
Just as Jushin Liger's famous catchphrase is, hell yeah! If you know, you know. CM Punk responded to this tweet with a mocking thumbs up gif saying, oh, maybe we should tag to see if we can coexist.
Oh!
This is a shot fired at WWE, who do love the whole feuding partners teaming up.
They do, don't
trope, don't they?
Yes.
We saw it at Survivor Series, but before that we saw it on NXT with Tommaso Ciampa and Bron Breakker. We've seen it throughout WWF/WWE history, and it seems the sort of strange bedfellows storyline continues to rear its head.
It's
how
very.
Can they coexist?
How can they coexist? I think they've come to rely on that a little bit too much in recent years. Do you know what though? At Survivor Series, I was pleasantly surprised that a lot of the teams did get on. It was like the
women's Survivor Series SmackDown team couldn't coexist.
They couldn't, but like the other teams, I thought they did really well, and they didn't lean into that trope too much. I don't think, but still, it is very much something that I think we need to get past by now, because it is just like a match before a major pay-per-view. We usually get on the Raw, the two people facing off in a tag team for whatever reason. Stuff ends in shenanigans, DQ, someone gets beaten up. It's like, okay, we've seen this before. They couldn't grow mates. It's just, it is very, 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 very.
So Punk was right to call him out on it.
Yeah, I think Punk was right to call him out. But then at the same time, this fan's just sort of,
It was said with love.
Yeah,
it wasn't just because I know that sometimes Twitter can be a bit of a hot mess when it comes to people just kicking off about stuff.
Yeah.
But this was a comment that was said very much with love that Punk responded to.
Definitely.
I'm up for seeing Lee Moriarty face Punk. I think Moriarty is a force of nature.
Yes.
So more power to see. Obviously, again, I kind of agree with the idea that I'd like a bit more story and stuff. But hey, you know what? I ain't gonna grumble at Lee Moriarty getting a showcase against CM Punk. Bring it on, Moriarty.
Yes, please.
Beast. PW Insider give us a few details on an injury scare from Monday Night Raw, don't they, Andrew?
They do, yeah. So PW Insider have said, for those who have asked about Carmella getting rocked by a Rhea Ripley clothesline last night, one source noted that she obviously taken a hard shot during the 10-woman tag and was checked out backstage after the match. During the bout, she took a moment to recover and then continued to perform before tagging out. Off camera during the bout, WWE had someone checking on Carmella to make sure she was okay. Carmella never left the ring apron and did everything that had been scheduled for her during the match.
I did get two messages from people after Raw saying, was Carmella all right?
Yeah.
I did. I also got one message from somebody saying, did you used to live in Berlin? But that's unrelated. That was something completely different. I didn't, by the way. There was also, on the subject of that match, PW Insider also say there were a lot of people backstage who were really thrilled with the 10-man tag. It was great.
It was, do you know what? It was a bloody good Raw, I tell thee.
Imagine imagine, right? And I mentioned this during a Survivor Series video that I did, just having a rant as I do. You know, the pieces to camera are just chew out my own brain. I miss the days where Survivor Series was two people building a team to face each other.
Me too.
Had Team Bex versus Team Morgan been the Survivor Series match, I'd have been fine with it.
That would have
Stick
been
eliminations in that.
And then that builds further towards their final blow-off when they have the women's title match as well, which is going to be good. And yeah, I agree. I think that would have been a much better way to do it. But do you know what? Each woman in that match got their spot in the tag match on Raw. I thought it was really, really well executed, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it.
Dana Brooke was praised for taking the big bump from the outside to the top rope. Doudrop giving a lot of praise backstage. This is from PW Insider still. For her work as well. The plan was to use the bout to get Liv Morgan over as a challenger for Becky Lynch, and the feeling was that they all accomplished that goal. I think they did as well.
Yeah, me too.
Really good. Shane Strickland's bringing his podcast back.
Ooh.
So Swerve City, which was on the WWE Network, they've had like Tony Storm and Drew McIntyre and William Regal on there in the past. It's a good listen. Like, Shane's a great orator, so I'm very happy to see that Strickland's planning to bring the podcast.
I thought you were going to say I'm so glad to see him come back because he's coming on Desert Island Grounds or something. You have me going then for a second, Tom. You have me going.
Swerve, check your DMs, mate. We'll make it happen.
Go on, Paul. But no, yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome to see. Like you said, he is a very good interviewer, and I mean, there's nothing better, is there, than two people in the industry, two really cool people in the industry getting together and just chatting about their craft. Like, it's always really exciting and really interesting.
And I think away from the podcast, I think Shane Strickland's going to have the world at his feet soon. He's so good, and we barely got a taste of it. I think some of the Swerve's house stuff that we saw during sort of lockdown NXT in 2020, where he was just having some bangers. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing that and more.
Yeah,
I know we barely scratched the surface. Getting back in the UK, getting back in front of a hot UK crowd where we can all sing Chaka Khan's Ain't Nobody. That's all I want. That's all I want. And this is a quirky bit of news to end on. So these releases from WWE, 80 plus in 2021, have caught everybody on the periphery of WWE off guard. Obviously 2K22.
Yeah.
I've no doubt been doing that Parks and Recreation gif where they chuck the computer in the skip multiple times. But Mattel yesterday rolled out their new line of Ringside Collectibles.
Yeah.
And they feature Adam Cole.
Boom.
The Fiend. Ric Flair. And Scarlett Bordeaux. I mean, there's a new Rey Mysterio and Charlotte Flair in there as well. Ooh. But most of the new releases have already gone.
They have. I think we've seen this before. I think with merch, I think it happened when The Fiend got released, and then they were like, hello, new Fiend merch on WWE.com, and it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
I mean, they're still. I mean, they've been released, but they're under like 3 months.
Yeah, there's
no competes.
Yeah.
So will they? I mean, I don't know this, and if you're an expert in such a legal field, if you could tell me, if they're on this sort of gardening leave period for 90 days, will they still get a kickback from the figures sold?
I mean,
obviously,
I
don't know if the Fiend will. I think Wyndham Rotunda no longer under contract.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, I don't know whether he'll
get a little,
get any. And this is my ignorance speaking. So if you could genuinely fill me in on that, that'd be incredible. Scarlett Bordeaux commented on Twitter upon the announcement of her action figure, saying, hey, 3 action figures in less than 2 years with no matches isn't too shabby. Just 3 action figures.
3 action figures. That is amazing. I could only wish to have an action figure.
I love an action figure.
That would be so good.
Adam and Jack action figures are available at cultaholicshop.com. They're the wrestling buddy
ones. The little buddy ones. So you can go to bed with Adam Pacitti and Jack the Jobber. Just like what you always wanted.
Just like the dream.
Yeah.
If you were an action figure, what would your special motion be?
It would be the hack coming off the head.
Oh.
But then there's a cat inside. There's a cat like controlling, doing all the controls, not knowing what's going on in life. Just like me, there is a little kitten inside my head. that is just making me do the rounds every day, making me do the words. You can tell because my words don't work sometimes, Tom.
I can confirm that Andrew is cat controlled.
Yes, I definitely am.
More news as we get it throughout the day at Cultaholic.com. It is a Wednesday, which means that Jack and Owen are doing Football Manager on Twitch.
Yeah, they are. Ooh.
Up the Fabes, Cultaholic FC at twitch.tv/Cultaholic. Keys.
Love you, bye.
Nailed it.